Good morning, everyone. How's it going? Happy Sunday. Game day. Final home game of the year, and wow, has that never meant less. Well, maybe it means a little something because it might be the last home game for Wilson and Wagner or Carroll or Schneider, etc., etc., etc. But in terms of anything else, like something actually related to this season, God, it rings hollow, especially after you have a season where you're not appreciably better at home than you were on the road. So I don't know how much that means, other than the fact that we might be saying goodbye to some Seahawks legends today. But nevertheless, it is the last home game. Gonna kick off in about 4.5 hours from the time of this upload. And I wanted to go over some last minute game notes. Obviously, the game doesn't mean a whole lot, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to watch the whole thing, and most of you guys will as well. Maybe some of you guys are tapping out, but not me. I want to see what they do. I want to see what they can show. I want to see if maybe they can surprise me. I want to see if maybe somebody can play better than I expected, if somebody can announce themselves as being worthy of being part of this team going forward. So let's take a look at what we might have to deal with today against the Lions. So LJ Collier has been activated from the COVID list. That's the first bit of news. So our COVID situation overall is quite good, although it got a little bit worse yesterday. This news is actually from 2 days ago, but I haven't mentioned it yet. But I want to talk about it for a minute because the way in which we've utilized, or for the most part not utilized, LJ Collier this year just confuses me. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You've got this former first round pick in his third year, where last year he wasn't good, but he did make some positive contributions. He did do some things. He seemed like a guy that you were counting on to be part of this defensive line rotation. And then you basically shelve him for most of the season. And you're not shelving him for guys you're not shelving him for Alan Page or Lawrence Taylor or some great defensive lineman. No, you're shelving him for Jags. You're shelving him for guys like Robert Kimdichie and Kerry Hyder, who has kind of turned into a Jag as the season has gone on. And maybe you could throw Brian Monet in there. And given the fact that the Seahawks have had a huge deficiency this year at 3-tech, I was hoping Collier could be the 3-tech, but we basically don't play him. And when he does play, it doesn't seem like he's moved to the interior full time. So I don't know what's going on with Collier, but we got 2 games left and we got an interesting decision this offseason. Well, I don't know if we really do have an interesting decision, quite frankly. A lot of people expect to cut him. He's got 1 year left on his deal. And if we're not going to use him, we may as well free up the roster spot. But we only save a little bit of money. So if we plan on using Collier even like a little bit next year, that's all it takes for him to be worth that relatively small amount of money. We're not saving that much when we cut him. For us to cut him, we almost have to be saying, we think you're worth nothing. We think you're literally worth so little that we will cut you just to get you away from the team. It's not about money. So if we can get Collier on the field a little bit, and because he's been activated, he has a chance to play, and I think that he probably will play some. And if we can get a chance to take a look at what he has to offer, if anything, I think that helps. Odds are good. We've already made a decision there. I think that he probably will be cut this offseason, but the way in which we utilized Collier this year doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know he's not good, but our 3-tech spot this year was atrocious. We kind of don't have a 3-tech. So I would have liked to have seen LJ Collier get some real reps there. All I can say is maybe he looks awful in practice, but I don't know why you wouldn't put him out there and make sure on game day. But Collier's back. Unfortunately, Sidney Jones is out, and that's not really a trade that I'm that interested in making. So Field Goals here has it. JaMarco Jones returns to 53-man roster, and Sidney Jones enters the COVID protocols, and John Radigan moves to injured reserve. So first off, JaMarco Jones coming back to the 53-man. I'm pretty done with JaMarco. He can't stay healthy. He doesn't need to be here anymore. This needs to be his last couple games as a Seahawk. I don't know if he's going to be... I don't know if he's a bad player, but he's not nearly good enough to be worth these injury headaches. John Radigan moving to injured reserve, it sucks, but obviously he was just a special teamer. Sidney Jones going to COVID, that one's really too bad because he's probably going to miss these last two games. And he was one of the younger guys on this team who had really come on strong lately, who I was actually getting some enthusiasm for. I was excited to see Sidney Jones. I liked what I saw from him. I liked having him out there. Now, the good news there is that we've seen enough from Sidney Jones over the last couple months to safely say that he's come around. He's playing well. He's given us like probably 2.5 good months. So Sidney Jones entering COVID, it's not like we haven't seen enough from him. We've seen enough. We are getting DJ Reed back, so we at least have a number one corner. But unfortunately, it looks like the number two corner will be either John Reed or Blessuan Austin. I don't know where Blessuan Austin is, so probably John Reed. And that's about it for that. And final couple of notes I want to throw out there. The practice squad replacements. Probably going to see a little bit of at least one of these guys because of the COVID-19 situation. Our COVID situation is a little better than some of these other teams, but we still might see some of them. Cornerback Mike Jackson gets the call up. Safety Josh Jones gets the call up. And linebacker Edmund Robinson gets the call up. I don't know too much about any of these guys, I'll be perfectly honest with you, but look, this is absolutely 100% the time to start playing young guys who you don't know about. Just get them out there, see what they can do. If they impress you, then they're players that you can consider bringing back next year. If they don't, then that's a player you know that maybe you're not going to bring back next year. Just use these opportunities to the best of your ability. All right, I know Carroll has already said I'm not into playing young guys just for the sake of playing young guys, but look, buddy, you can't even play the so you're telling me there's a chance game anymore. There is literally no chance. 0%. 0.0000%. There is no one at the end of that string of zeros. So how about you come to grips with reality here and just acknowledge we're basically playing preseason games. We're playing games that give us the opportunity to showcase what we have at the back end of the roster. And I want to see these guys get some snaps. If you can get Mike Jackson out there on the field a little bit, go for it. Josh Jones, go for it. Ryan Neal, look, Ryan Neal seems like he might be a good player who is good in little bursts, but he's not. If he's a full-time player, you have a problem because I have not been that impressed with him since Jamal got hurt. If you can get somebody like, shoot, I don't know. If you can get John Reed out there and Blessuan Austin out there at the same time, that's not a bad idea either, honestly. If you can get Tanner Muse out there, that's a good idea. Any young guy you can think of. Like I understand you want to pay respects to guys like Wilson and Wagner because it might be their last home game in Seattle, but at some point you have to think about your future prospects. And bottom line is, these are the most meaningless games that the Seahawks have played in the Russell Wilson era. They are literally glorified preseason games. Use this time to the best of your ability. And bottom line is, I don't need to see Quandre Diggs play that much anymore. I know what he is. I've seen enough of him. I know he's a great player. I don't need to see that anymore because he's been a great player in service of a team that has no shot at the playoffs. But I do want to see guys like Tanner Muse and Josh Jones because I don't know. That's the key. All right. See you guys later. Peace out. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. Oh, and one other last-minute game note here before we go. I may be doing the post-game stream a little later than usual. I usually do it during the halftime and second half of the Sunday night game. But tonight I may have a commitment that forces me to bump it to after the Sunday night game. Don't know exactly when, and don't know if it's even going to be the case, but it is very likely that the post-game stream will be delayed a couple of hours from when I usually started. So hope I can still see you guys there, and peace out, go Hawks.